Okay, I'm here with Abby, and Abby gets very excited when people come to the door. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can teach a dog to teach itself to calm down. Now, I'm going to have the guardian who's filming this walk backwards and keep on walking on until you get to the wall. Now, I'm going to open the door so we might have some aperture changes. Give me 1 sec. Let me give him some instructions. So, wait right there. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move her far away from the door, and I'm going to step on the leash. So when you do this, make sure you step with both feet. Can you see me and her? Knock on the door. Knock on the door. Come on in. So what? And I'm going to have you come on in, close the door behind you if you could, and stay right there on the edge of the carpet, and turn it either face this way or this way, so she's on your side. There we go. So now the other dogs, you can see, just started barking. We have 3 other dogs that live in the house. They just started barking outside. You see how she got excited and went there. Here, sweetheart. Now, it's her guardian. She knows who it is, so she's not, normally she's a lot more excited than this for you, or just more for guests?
No, she's excited when I come home.
Okay, so turn to face her and say her name.
Abby.
And then turn, and you can go ahead and start petting her under her chin, but as soon as she starts wiggling, pull back and turn sideways. So what we want to do in this case is as soon as the dog starts showing overexcitement, we step away from the dog and we turn sideways. Front facing is I'm engaging with you. Sideways is I'm disengaging with you in this particular capacity. So what I'm doing is I'm going to give the dog just enough room to reach there, but not reach the actual person. So he's saying through his actions, when you get overexcited, now turn and face her and go ahead and just start petting her. You can crouch down.
Oh,
as long as she stays there and she's calm, you can pet her as much as you want. And I know it's hard.
My thighs are so sore.
So the idea for this, most of us confuse excited for happy. And when the dog gets excited, we pet it. Well, anything your dog is doing when you pet it is what you're specifically amplifying. So if your dog is excited and you pet it, you're going to make it more excited. If it jumps up on you and you
fail at that every day.
There you go. And that's a very common mistake people have with dogs. So if your dog jumps up on you, and especially when you come through a door, that's going to be the dog's way of claiming you. You now belong to me. You're like, yes, I do, by petting the dog. So this exercise is something I would have you do with guests. And when you guys do come home to each other, just do the same thing we did here. He normally would use the garage and come in through the other door. Now you can do the same exercise over there as well. I just didn't know the layout of the house. I just got here. So the idea is to, again, have your neighbors and people come over and rep this. And so you saw that now this is not the best demonstration because usually dogs are like, oh, super dogging it up with the leash holding him and they're trying to jump at you. And we turn away and we wait. We're not telling them to calm down. We're not telling them anything. We're saying through our actions, when you sit or when you're calm, you're very attractive to me. When you're overexcited, I just lose all interest. I step out of your reach, I turn to the side and grab your phone and look at a couple of emails, have a magazine here so the person can read it. And you want to essentially become boring. Here, sweetheart. Now, this is a good illustration. A lot of times the dogs will do this and try to run around you. Come here. Here, Abby. So I'm just going to untwist myself. So when you're doing this, maybe stand a little bit closer so she can't run around you. But the idea is this, you'll do a lot, at first you'll be doing a lot of this back and forth, sideways, sideways. And then the dog's energy calms down enough, then you can step off the leash like this. She's nice and calm and balanced. Now, as I said earlier, there are 3 other dogs outside. They're little dogs and they're very excitable dogs. And when I first showed up, she actually was correcting the other dogs for being too out of balance, even though she's the puppy and they're like over 10 years old. Usually it's the other dog's correcting the puppy, but in this case, she's being your ringleader. She's giving the behavior you want. Now, she's also a lot bigger, so she can do damage if she jumps up on people. She can knock a little kid down or scratch people, things like that. The other dog's going to bite ankles is about all. So we have tendency to see this as more of a danger and that less is a danger, but one of those dogs is actually more of the biter than her. And so I would rep this with all the dogs separately. And then when eventually you get the 2 of your dogs, you get your best 2 dogs together, and then maybe have, ideally you don't want to do this with multiple dogs. So the first stage is what I've shown you here. Now again, this is not the best demonstration. She's normally more excited than this. The next stage is what I did when I first showed up. What I did is we opened the inside door. I was out there by myself and I was just waiting at the door. Now again, this is something you only want to do with 1 dog at a time. So I had my foot up against the door because she kept on pounding against the door. She could push it open. And then basically what I do is I wait for the dog to the energy's like up here, then up here, and then kind of settles down. And then she started walking away, and she walks away. I reached and jiggled the handle, and she ran back to the door, jumped up on it again. And I didn't come in. So I'm teasing the dog, and I'm going through all the individual steps of entering, but as soon as the dog shows excitement, I stop the process. Now, dogs go through repetition and consistency. So if every time the dog passes like level 4 energy or whatever caliber you have, that causes you immediately to stop. Then eventually, after enough repetitions, like, oh, so when I get excited and jump on the door, that stops the process of the person coming inside. Now, just like us, dogs are more apt to make mistakes when they're overstimulated, overexcited. So if a person comes in when the dog is at the height of excitement, they're guaranteed going to get jumped up on. That's where nips and bites and all the rest of the stuff can happen. So what I would recommend you do is once you've taught them all with this leash stepping approach, now when people come to the door by themselves, they kind of have that energy that she demonstrated already here consistently. Then I would bring the best 2 dogs together, then have the door open, have the person come and knock, and just wait.
Do we have 2 good dogs?
We will have 4 good dogs soon. But the idea is you want to set them up for success. Most people have to learn practice the behavior you don't want, and they get better at it. So we need to kind of formulate a structure and set it up so that we can help the dog practice behaving the way we want. And again, we're not telling her what to do. We're not micromanaging. When she discovers accidentally what we didn't want, we reward her. And when she does things we don't want, we disengage and just become boring. After enough repetition, the dogs will offer you the behavior you want. Well, this is Abigail, right? Abby, right?
Abby.
I go formal. And these are some tips and tricks you can use to stop your dog from jumping on guests that come through the door, as well as a little bonus on how you can teach multiple dogs to calm down when guests arrive.